Good morning. Today is Tuesday, January 25th, and here is what we did today. All right, so today is our Unit 5 checkup quiz. Before we take the quiz, we're going to review on page 19 and identify those that are electrolytes using the rules on page 22. If you get done early from the quiz, and there would be time to complete the solutions and dilutions lab. Of course, that's due on Thursday, the 27th. And then, as a reminder, our test is on February 15th and 16th at this point. All right, so I'm going to head to the module for last week, and I want to begin by clicking on the notes tab or page, and we're going to take a look at these rules. Okay, so this is page 22. I would recommend cutting out one of these. It says the same thing, but if you cut out a strip, then you can kind of have it handy for you. We're going to be using it a bit more next week as well. All right, so how to identify strong and weak electrolytes. So first, most salts are strong electrolytes because they're going to dissolve in water. Most acids are weak electrolytes, except for these few. So I'm going to say the name and remind you how to name them. And what I recommend is that as you go through the video, you write down the names of these acids that I have in formula form here. So our first one is HCl. Cl is chloride. So this is an IDE ending. So our acid name is hydrogen chloride. Our second one, H2SO4. SO4 is sulfate with an ATE ending. So H2SO4 would be sulfuric acid. HNO3 here, NO3 is nitrate, an ATE ending, which means our acid name is nitric acid. Then we have HBr. Br is bromide, an IDE ending. So our name is hydrobromic acid. And then HI right here, I is iodine, which as an ion would be iodide. So the name for HI is hydroiodic acid. And then our last one, HClO4. ClO4 is the perchlorate ion. So this would be perchloric acid. Okay. All right. Strong acids would then be strong electrolytes. So those 6 would be our strong electrolytes. All right. As far as bases are concerned, group 1 and group 2 hydroxides are strong electrolytes. NH3 is a weak one. And then most other substances are going to be non-electrolytes. So now let's take a look at page 19, and we're going to just review and answer and identify those as strong or weak or non-electrolytes. All right, so nitric acid. Nitric acid is an exception. That's a strong electrolyte. Barium hydroxide would be also strong because barium is a group 2 metal. Water is a non-electrolyte because it doesn't separate. And barium nitrate, we're going to call a salt for now. So then we have phosphoric acid. Phosphoric acid is not on our exception list for strong, so it is a weak electrolyte. Calcium hydroxide would be strong because calcium is a group 2 metal. And then water is a non-electrolyte. So for number 3, we have hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is on our exception for strong electrolytes, so it's strong. Iron 3 hydroxide is a weak electrolyte because iron is a transition metal. Iron 3 chloride is a salt, which would in turn be a strong electrolyte because it's dissolved, and then water is a non-electrolyte. Then we have hydrochloric acid again, strong electrolyte. Sodium hydroxide, sodium is a group 1 metal. That would also be a strong electrolyte. Sodium chloride is a salt. It would dissolve completely, so it also would be a strong electrolyte. And then water would be a non-electrolyte. Hydrochloric acid we've identified already as strong. Chromium hydroxide, chromium is a transition metal, so this would be weak. And then we have chromium 2 chloride, which would be a salt, and then water are non-electrolyte. And then our last equation here, as I review, Oxalic acid is not an exception, so it is a weak electrolyte. Calcium hydroxide is a group 2 metal, so this is a strong electrolyte. Our calcium oxalate is our salt, and then water is our non-electrolyte. So before we take the quiz today, the other 2 things to remember is that molarity equals moles of solute over liters of solution. And then we have our M1V1 equals M2V2 for our dilution equation. Just remembering that M1 and V1, you just need to make sure that they go together. It doesn't matter what you designate as the 1 or the 2, as long as you have them paired correctly. The volume unit doesn't matter either, as long as it's the same. It could be liters or milliliters, but they do have to match in the equation if you do have 2 volume unit or volumes. And then finally, do not use any other variable except for M or V. X is appropriate in math class. It is not appropriate here. Okay, so just make sure you do that. All right, and then when you're done, you can work on the lab, and that is due on Thursday.